Connecting.
Oh, oh,
Oh, let me check something to make sure that we're going. I think we might be, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Hey, there we are. We are live.
awesome. Okay, so welcome everybody to our Redfall fan cast. This week we're going to be talking
Yep,
all
there
about
it is. Yep,
Redfall.
I see it. Welcome to Redfall.
Honestly, my game of the year probably. It's going to take a lot to unseat it. I mean, Microsoft just absolutely knocked it out of the park once again. I mean, they've had just such a great stream of exclusives lately. Everyone has been better than the last, if I'm being honest. Yeah, Redfall's a great game. I can definitely recommend it.
Redfall, you say?
Redfall, my favorite non-buggy, non-broken, very fun to play game. That's the biggest game to release within like the last 2 weeks. Nothing else has come out. It's just Redfall. So yeah, like I said, this is our Redfall fan cast. Welcome everybody. Um, okay, let's get down to the real meat and bone. Okay, so the big one dropped
It
days
did.
ago.
It did.
Big one.
Not less
The
than
big one.
about 24 hours ago. Maybe a little
Yep.
more.
About 24 hours ago. Yep. God, is it freaking good? Oh my God, really
I've
freaking good.
been a little busy. I haven't gotten it yet. Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, rip.
I have other things on my backlog. I kind of want to prioritize first.
Fair.
I would say I'll attempt to avoid spoilers for you, but there's not really much to spoil because most of the game is just wandering around smacking people with your sword and stuff.
Sounds like Breath of the Wild. Yep.
Sword?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are you talking about? Maybe
Uh,
if you sticky it to the top of your wooden stick, maybe.
yes. I get a yeah. I love making my club. That's a fusion of a stick and a giant boulder. Or sticking a rock to the front of my shield. That's fun. Sticking a fire breath to the front of my shield. That's amazing. That's actually underrated right there.
I need
Um,
to try that. I picked up one of those shields. I need to try that out. I've mostly
yeah,
just
I'm
been
just
walking around with a boulder on my back.
yeah.
Similar from
I
the beginning.
genuinely yeah. I was the same way. I got to the fusion dungeon and I immediately they're like use something in this room to fuse so you can break down the wall and I'm like okay, I don't know what the heck I'm doing but I'll try this. And I just fused a boulder to the front of my shield and I'm like why did I do this? What?
See, I fused it first to my wooden stick, and then I saw another boulder, and I was like, "Let me put that on my shield."
On my shield, heck yeah.
Boom, and it was on my shield, and it
Yeah,
stayed there. It's still
I
there.
can. It's still there. 'Cause maybe it makes it stronger or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can already tell I'm going to suck with the buildable materials like the Zonai tech because I have zero creativity. Um, I'll probably just like make the bare bones basic of what I need to do to proceed with the game.
So I'll say this: when I saw that gameplay demo, and I saw them making the little raft to go across the river, and I saw that, and I thought, man, that seems like the most tedious crap ever. If I want to cross a river in Ocarina of Time, I jump in the river and I swim. In
Yep.
Yeah,
friggin' Tears of the Kingdom, I'm gonna have to build a boat and then and then drive the boat all the way over there. And I thought, man, that just sounds awful. And I got to that
yeah,
exact part
yep,
in the tutorial island, and I did it, and I was like, oh, that was actually kind of fun.
yeah, yeah. But just building stuff is just so much fun. I was actually surprised at how much I ended up enjoying it because I was like, I literally will not be creative enough to do anything with this. And I mean, I'm still doing the bare basic, but like even that is like, dang, this is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the crap I can do. I can I can make a fan by fusing a leaf to the end of my stick. That's pretty cool.
You can make a fan by
Um,
sticking a board to the end of your stick.
Can you now? I had no idea.
Just one of those flat boards, those big
Yeah,
wide like panels. You just attach of those to your stick, and then it's a fan as well.
that's awesome.
Did you get
I also
the Korok on the island where he wants you to take him over to the other island to be with his friend?
yeah.
How did you do that?
So I took the board and I attached the hook to the top of it, and then I stuck him to the board and put it across. However, I didn't realize what I was doing at first, and that I could get him across. So I wasted one. I put the hook on it because I thought it'd just stay on, and then I could like plop him on there. So I wasted one. It went to the other side. I'm like, crap. Okay, I'm gonna try putting him on first, and I did it, and I succeeded. And then I realized, oh crap, I have no way of getting across this chasm now. So what I did was I literally climbed onto the rail and slowly walked all the way across the rail to the other side. That's how I solved it.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
so
literally.
what I did was I took every single piece of wood over there and I attached them all together in a giant bridge. And then I
Oh,
attached the Korok to the end of the bridge, and then I put it over, and then I put it on the rails, and it still wasn't long enough. So then I attached a fan to the bridge and pushed myself and the Korok and the bridge all the way across, and it somehow worked.
that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah, I when I got to that water part with the raft, it sucked because the raft and I placed it on the water and I'm like, okay, I'll just jump on it real quick, get across. That thing just went right out from underneath me and sailed to the other side of the lake. And so there were no more sails. I attached both sails to that sucker. I was screwed. So I literally just had to chop down a bunch of trees, make wooden rafts without the sail, and then I two of them, and I moved one to one place, and then I'd swim across to it. And I'd grab the other, and I'd put it across the lake, and I'd grab the other, and keep going until I finally made it across the lake. Um, yeah, I should not have attached both sails to that thing. That thing went flying.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
attaching stuff, using stuff is crazy fun. I can already foresee the goofy weapons I'm going to be able to make through Fusion. I've already gotten a bunch of great ones. There's this one boss that drops like a special material you can attach to fuse to a weapon to make like a spinning club, which is pretty cool. Uh, no, that Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom is amazing. I was expecting to like it. I find I'm way more hooked than I thought I would be.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the time, third-person open world games, I love. Well, no, I can't say I love them. I don't love them, but I did like Breath of the Wild. I liked it a lot. So I was expecting going into this. Oh, okay, maybe it'll just be a little bit of DLC for Breath of the Wild. Might be a bit of a disappointment, but no. The new mechanics they added are just so much fun. They're just so much fun to do. I love sticking crap to other crap and sticking crap to my sword and shield and everything like that. My bow, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I will
yeah.
say I'll get into later on, but I'm not a huge fan of Breath of the Wild. I find a lot of the game to be a bit tedious.
Oh,
No, that's fair.
We'll get into more of it later, Mitchell. We'll get into more of it later. But I will say that it feels like they've just refined everything in this game. You open up the shrine and you just walk in instead of having to go down an elevator. It's just so much. It's just a little quicker. The loading screen shows you the map. When you're teleporting, it'll show where you're teleporting from, and then move over to where you're teleporting to, so that it's a better information than just tooltips. It's climbing feels maybe a little faster. I might be imagining that, but it feels like it might be a little faster. And
Yeah, it's been too long.
Swimming felt faster to me, and it felt like dashing in the water used less energy.
It's possible. I don't know. It's been 6 years since I played Breath of the Wild, so I can't remember for the life of me.
Yeah.
But it's certainly possible.
And then even then, even if climbing hasn't been changed at all, you have Ascend, so I can just dive into the mountain and get to the top.
Yeah, it's super convenient. Yeah, like all of the tools are like the natural evolution of the tools from the last game, and they refine things so much. They make things so much more streamlined.
Mhm.
Like, before you had to just hit something a bunch of times and send it flying and jump onto it. Now you can like craft together something that can get you across places, which is just so much fun. Like you said, I thought it would be really tedious, but I find zero tedium whatsoever in the action. I think it's just fun.
The only thing tedious about it is that it took me a bit to get used to the controls for rotating and stuff.
Oh yeah,
But
oh
then,
yeah, I still struggle with it.
but it's starting to become more muscle memory, so it's working fine.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is freaking awesome though. I think it turned out too
Look,
far
it
in.
looks good, but I haven't bought a game on release date since I can't even remember.
Fair.
I have not bought a newly released game in ages. I'm a very patient gamer.
Man,
I understand.
I feel sorry for everyone who bought Jedi Survivor on day one.
On PC, yeah.
On
That's
PC
rough.
or even console, it wasn't all that much better.
Console performance was fairly poor. You have to put it in performance mode, or it's
Ugh.
unplayable.
But hopefully in a few years, all that will get fixed, and I can buy it for like 30-50% off, and it'll just be fixed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what happened with Cyberpunk 2077. I think Cyberpunk's a great game. You know why? Because I didn't get it on first day release.
You know what? That's fair. I also agree. Yeah.
Man, I hate that games have to be fixed post-release these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really wish they were released well.
Like, hey, I'm doing my part. I'm not buying first day anymore. I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is just like so much freaking fun.
I'm already more interested in the story for this game than I was for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, I just think Dick Ganondorf makes a cooler villain than Ganon. Ganon's just like just a wild animal, whereas Ganondorf is like conniving and cunning. Makes him fundamentally more interesting of a villain.
I can't believe that the rehydrated Ganon memes were real. Because I remember that when like the first trailer released years ago, people were already making rehydrated Ganon memes.
Yes.
And then it turned out to be real. It's like, oh god, they actually rehydrated Ganondorf.
Oops.
Yeah. Great game though.
Man, I had to have it confirmed by my brother that the guy who voices Rauros is not Matt Mercer.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering that myself.
They sound identical.
Look, I just put in like rehy and it automatically filled into rehydrated Ganondorf. On Google, it's trending right now. This is hilarious. It's on Know Your Meme, rehydrated Ganondorf.
Oh, and I'm already liking the returning characters as returning characters, seeing them in the time skip or after the time skip. Did you see Pura, right? Like one of the first characters you meet post time skip is Pura, and she looks completely different.
She sure does.
It doesn't feel like, the usual Japanese trope of, don't worry, she's 1,000 years old, guys.
She's 1,000 years old dragon, Lolly. Don't worry, guys. It's okay.
Did they age Pura back up?
Yeah, she's unreversed the aging process.
Oh, thank goodness.
She still acts like a child, though.
I think
Yeah.
that's just Pura, though.
She calls you Linky.
Ugh, ugh, eh, eh.
And that's one of her voiced lines.
No.
Yeah. Great.
I will say, voice acting seems to be maybe a bit better this time around. But that's because I've barely heard any Zelda, and good lord, everyone else seems to be doing it okay. But Zelda's voice actress is not matching the lip flaps at all.
Oh yeah, no shot. No, not at all. You see, this is why we have to turn on Japanese dubs and completely skip over the excellent Matt Mercer Ganondorf that will no doubt become more prevalent as the game continues.
Can I just turn on a mod or a switch that gives me Japanese Zelda and everyone else speaks English?
Yes, exactly.
It's like when you watch Gurren Lagann, you want to turn everyone else English. Yeah, sure, but can I keep Kamina Japanese?
I would
I'll
never.
take Steve Bloom playing Liron. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Tears of Kingdom, great game, love it.
Great game. What else have you
Alright, so
done
shall we-
these many weeks, Aaron?
All right, yeah, let me go ahead and dive right in. I just got my coffee. Okay, I'll start off with things I've watched. So, to start, I was watching at the time we did our last podcast, Doom Patrol, a DC series, following a bunch of like nobody heroes doing stuff. I don't even know if you could really call them heroes. It's just kind of their escapades, just basically what happens to them over the course of their several years. Um, that show is completely wacky. Completely, you cannot take a single second of it seriously. I think I told the last time about the episode in which there's a character who can flex so hard he causes people to orgasm, and he did that for one character, and she orgasmed so hard she attracted a sex demon from Tibet who came to the house and brought sex ghosts with him. At which point he absorbed the sex energy to give birth to a baby that, when it cried, would erase all children off the face of the earth. Um, yeah, that show's pretty crazy.
Man,
Yeah, I like.
I don't know if you did talk about that because I feel like I would remember something that wacky. But
Oh yeah, and by the way, to stop the sex demon, the sex men show up, who respond to incredible sexual energy disturbances.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're basically the Ghostbusters, but for sex. Yeah, that show is wild. Admittedly, it kind of started to lose me in the last season. I feel like all the plot lines kind of unraveled, and like there was nothing really to go off of. So I just kind of stopped watching once I reached the last season. I was like, you know what? I've had my fill of this. I love the wacky zaniness, the craziness, and just zaniness. I loved it, but I'm kind of done with it. I don't want to watch too much more. So I went ahead and dropped that. In place of that, I've been watching Ted Lasso season 3. It's a great show. Oh my god, Ted Lasso is just one of my favorite characters in media. What's his face plays him just so well. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he plays him really, really freaking well. The character building's all great. The plot's great. Um, I don't know, everything about it's just absolutely fantastic. That is the sole reason people have purchased an Apple TV subscription. And as soon as it finishes, I imagine Apple will see a mass migration away from their Apple TV service. Call it a hunch, because this is the last season. Season 3 is the final season. Um, Yeah, but that show's fantastic. I love Ted. Um, okay, in terms of movies, I watched a ton of movies. Um, I watched Evil Dead Rise theaters. That's really great. It is much more so. Evil Dead 2 and 3 are comedy movies, well, horror comedy, and they're completely wacky and slapstick and like zany. You kind of have to be in the right mindset to watch them. Evil Dead Rise was not that. It was very much in the vein of the first, which is a true horror film. And yeah, people people get dismembered, people get chopped up, people get shot. Uh, a lot of bad stuff happens to the characters in that show or movie. Um, Surprisingly, there are next to no jump scares. It's almost all atmospheric horror, um, and just like unsettling imagery. Um, and yeah, I really like the villains, the main demon of that. It's really really well performed by the actresses. Great film overall. I really enjoyed it. Next, I saw surrealist horror film Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix, directed by Ari Aster. And yeah, I can definitely confirm after watching that movie that Beau is afraid. He is quite afraid, and quite frankly, he has good reason to be. Um, yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's a
I saw a
movie.
trailer for that one.
Yeah, that is a movie. I mean, it is like pure, true surrealism. I kept waiting for the veil to be lifted in order for things to be explained so I would understand what I just watched for like 2.5 hours. Never happens. It's one surrealist set of imagery after the next. And you just kind of get more confused as things go on. I think I might have a working theory of is. I think it's a surrealist recreation of a man who has a nervous breakdown over the death of his mother and is uh, uh, to a mental health institution. That seems to be what it is, but I honestly can't tell. It's far too surreal to even nail something down. Um, yeah, I mean, it was a good movie if you can get past the complete nonsense of the plot, which if you're looking for answers, you won't find them. Great film though. Next, I saw Sisu. Sisu is by the producers of John Wick. It takes place in the 1940s in Finland. The Nazis are being driven out of Finland, and on their way out, they encounter a gold miner who is a World War I vet who's like incredibly hardy and resilient and like a mass killer. And yeah, he goes and he kills the Nazis for stealing his gold. That's the whole movie. It's a very simple plot, but that's the gist of it. The Nazis steal his gold, and he's like, I got to get that gold back, and so he kills them all. Um, yeah, that's it. I mean, it was good. The fight scenes were all right. They weren't John Wick level. The movie is mainly just about how much that man can get pummeled and keep going, more so than it is about him actually fighting and killing people. Uh, they're just like that is definitely a movie you have to turn your brain off for, because if you think for 5 seconds about okay, there's no way he would survive that. If you go into the movie thinking like that, you'll have a bad time. But if you turn your brain off, you should be fine, and it's a fun movie to watch. Movie. Next, I saw Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. It is a film adaptation of the 1960 something novel. Um, and yeah, that may win Best Picture. Um, I genuinely think that's going to be in the running for Best Picture for the Oscars next year. 'Cause
Well,
wow, 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 wow.
it certainly hit the requirement of not making money.
Exactly. That movie is utterly fantastic. I went in expecting to like it, and I absolutely loved it coming out. The portrayal of early childhood puberty is like really, you know, like really well done. Um, from what I understand, it's kind of like the first exploration of it, kind of in, not history, but like, in novel form, definitely. Um, it's that was a really good freaking movie. I loved the protagonist. I loved all her friends. The movie in general has a lot of good back and forth about religion and sexuality and things like that. And in general, it's just a really good film, just a really good flick. It definitely is going to be in the running for Best Picture next year, and I think if it wins, it'll deserve it.
Hmm.
Nice.
Next, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Ladies and gentlemen, they've done it. Marvel has finally made a good movie again.
Oh my
Did
gosh.
not think it was possible. I thought it was it could not happen. Uh, but no, they got freaking James Gunn, and by God, he made them a good movie. Um, yeah, you get to see Rocket Raccoon's whole backstory in this movie, and it's so well done. Um, what happens to him is just beautifully tragic, um, in the best possible way. I love the main villain. I love the synergy between all the characters. It's great. I love the way it concluded. Yeah, everything's about that movie is just really good. Um, James Gunn really pulled it out. And if you've been burned by Marvel movies as of late, I'd highly recommend checking it out because it is one of the few ones they actually got right.
Hmm.
Uh, Next, I saw Polite Society, which is a movie about it follows two Indian English women who one of the women gets involved romantically with like this really rich guy, and her sister, the main character, is like a aspiring to be a stunt woman in Hollywood, not in Hollywood, but like in movies. And basically, the rich people are up to nefarious business with her sister. So she has to go and using her new stunt woman powers has to free her sister from the clutches of the rich people. Um, Ultimately, it the central conceit, i.e., what the rich people wanted out of the sister, was pretty silly, but if you can like stomach that, it's a really great movie. It's really clever. It's really funny. I love all the characters in it. I just had a ton of fun with that one. That's just a genuinely fun movie to go out and see. Um, that was a great movie. Um, Lastly, I saw just yesterday Blackberry. Um, it has Glenn Howerton of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fame. Um, and yeah, it tells the story of the rise and fall of BlackBerry, and it's it's wild. Um, it's crazy watching them go from like this tiny little bunch of geeks in a tiny office building modems for companies that are basically ripping them off to being like the largest cell phone manufacturer in the world. Um, Yeah, and then finally, just like how badly the iPhone decimated them. Like it is insane. They literally went from 45% of the market share to zero in like 3 to 4 years. It's insane. Yeah, the iPhone, it cannot be understated just how badly it destroyed them. Of course, it didn't help that the first touchscreen phone they released was massively defective, and they had to recall basically all of them. Uh, like they pretty much fumbled out the gate and got eviscerated by Apple. Um, yeah, so that's an incredibly interesting story. Glenn Howerton absolutely killed it. I think he could be in the running for. I don't know if he would be considered a lead actor. He might be supporting. It's hard to say. He kind of plays a little bit of both in the movie. Um, that's a great movie all in all. Glad I went to go see it. Now I had an experience getting to that movie. So like none of my usual haunts were showing the movie. So I had to drive over to Grapevine Mills, the Grapevine Mills Mall,
Oh my
to go see that.
gosh.
Yeah, so it was like 30 minutes out of the way. So I drove over there. I'm like, okay, this better be worth it. Um, get there. I park in front of this of what I think is the mall. I step in. Oh no, it's a gym that's attached to the mall but doesn't access the mall. And I'm like, I'll just drive over to the next place. So I drive over to the Neiman Marcus next door that leads into the mall. And turns out they had closed like 15 minutes before. So I'm like, okay, this sucks. And keep in mind, I have like 5 minutes now until the movie starts. And so I drive over to the other side, to right beyond Neiman Marcus. I park, I get into the mall. Turns out the movie theater is on the complete opposite side of the mall. So I literally had to like dog sprint all the way to the theater before I lost the ability to get a ticket. And I got there literally right in the nick of time. And I was like super sweaty. I was absolutely disgusting by that point. Um, but yeah, I really hope any independent releases in the future are at my usual haunts because good lord, I do not want to do that again. Mm. Anyway, that's everything I've watched. In terms of things I've played, Overwatch 2 released a new hero. I was like, I want to play a little bit of Overwatch 2. So I was like, may as well. And played a little bit of Overwatch 2. Not very much. I think I only played a couple games, but I was like, you know what? This is just as fun as I remember. Yeah, this is really good. New hero is awesome too. Um,
Oh, I forgot there was a
that's
new
it.
hero.
What's the new hero do?
Like,
I don't keep up with Overwatch.
it is Lightweaver. He's a healer, and he basically has the ability to pull teammates to him from like across the map. So pretty much, it's the opposite of the last healer they added, Go, who can teleport to people. He just pulls them directly towards them, which of course has created several
I
Mhm.
feel like
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
ripe for
for
abuse.
trolling. Yes,
Oh
it
yeah.
has
We like to do
created.
a bit of trolling as we fall off ledges.
Oh yes. Oh yes. It has created a lot of trolling.
Wait,
Um,
what's the stage? I forget the name of the stage that has the big old circle in the middle of the point. Big old
um, uh,
hole.
yeah, it's not Dubai. It might be Dubai. Uh, yeah, it's Dubai. It's Dubai.
Yeah, yeah. You just pull people in. It's exactly what
Literally
happened
just pull people
when
in.
Orisa first came out in Overwatch 1, except now you're doing it to your
Yeah.
teammates.
Or okay, no, I'm thinking. Are you thinking of the hole that when you fall in it you die?
Yes.
Okay, that's not Dubai. That's Ilios. Ilios.
Yeah. The
Um,
Greek place. Yeah,
the
that was it.
Greek map. Yep. Yeah, no, that there's so many trolling opportunities. Um, I didn't get the opportunity to play as him because you have to get to freaking level 50 in the battle pass to unlock him. I'm
Ew,
like,
gross.
I'm not gonna
Ugh.
play that much. No. And I'm certainly not going to pay that much money to unlock him. Um, anyway, that was Overwatch 2. Next, I played I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. Um, It's a visual novel slash deck building game in which you play as a young child, starting at 10, moving on to age 20, who goes with his parents and a bunch of other people to colonize an alien planet. Um, who left a sort of ruined and tattered Earth behind to find a new life for themselves on this alien planet. And that game is utterly fantastic. It's so creative. I love building relationships with all of the characters, especially the romance options are really great. Um, all of the characters have their own wants, desires. They're so driven, and I love that. And then there's a whole mystery that's sort of underpinning the alien planet. There's definitely some spooky alien stuff afoot, which is absolutely great. Um, the only downside is that the ending just sucks. It just
Oh.
sucks. It's a completely choice driven game. Like you have literally, if you make one wrong choice, a character will die. So like one time I literally just I had just started the game and they're like, "Hey, do you want to hang out with this character?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't really want to form a relationship with them right now." And then the next scene comes, and they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, they got electrocuted to death." And I'm like, "This is a 10-year-old child. You just electrocuted a 10-year-old child to death."
Oh.
And that happens. That happened to me so often. I need to look up a guide or something because literally, you make one singular wrong choice, and a character will die. Um, it's just absolutely wild. But I mean, it keeps the stakes up. Like you genuinely have to think about what you're going to do because otherwise, a character will die, and the entire course of the story will change. Um, but yeah, because it's all choice driven, basically the ending is just kind of a recap of all of the relationships you've built and stuff that happens. I was expecting some giant grand climax and a killer denouement, but no. It just ends. It just unceremoniously comes to an end, which just kind of sucks. I think there's like more secrets you can uncover on subsequent playthroughs. Like I was halfway to discovering the secret, the alien secret on the planet, but it just kind of I ran out of time at the end because I didn't figure it out until like the last year of the game, and I'm like I have no time left to do anything. Um, that's a really great game. I wish it had stuck the landing a little bit more, but nope. Um, next, thought I did not get it on PC. I purchased Star Wars Jedi Survivor for the PS5 Entertainment console. Um, yeah, that game literally unplayable unless you put it in performance mode. Even in performance mode, it lags terribly. You get maybe 30, 40 frames a second in performance mode if you're lucky. Yeah, one time I was like, somebody online was like, "Yeah, you don't really need performance mode on console. It should be fine." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll turn it off." Then I turn it off. Instantly, my frame rate drops to like 10 frames a second. Turning is impossible. And so I was like, "Okay, nope, don't trust that person anymore," and turned it back on. But when I could get past the poor performance, they have a really solid game underneath there. A lot of great boss battles. There's one boss battle. All of the main boss battles are pretty easy, but all of like the side boss battles, the secret boss battles, are all really freaking hard and really freaking great. Like have you refight the hardest boss from the last game. Um, uh, as a secret optional boss in this game. And then after you do that, you unlock the ability to fight both the hardest boss from the last game and his clone in the new game. So you get to fight them both at the same time. And let's just say I spent a long time on that fight. I spent a long, long time. But I beat him. Dang it, I beat him. But yeah, all the optional bosses are absolutely fantastic. Story, I think, is much better than the first one. If I'm being honest, it's a much smaller more personal story, which just works really, really well. Um, yeah, I really ended up liking Jedi Survivor a lot when it would perform the way it should. It was a great game. Um, I started playing. I texted this in the group chat. I purchased Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable
Yeah.
on the
Yes, yes,
PS5.
yes, yes.
I decided to start with Persona 4 Golden because I know Persona 3 is generally considered the best in the series, so I wanted to save that for last. So I picked up Persona 4 Golden, and yeah, I kind of suck at that game if I'm being honest. Yeah, I was telling Zach in our writing group a little bit about this, but like I got through the first dungeon. I had a miserable time in the first dungeon because I just didn't want to do fusions at all, and so I just collected like all of the personas that you can get, like the base personas, and like every single enemy in the upper floors of the first dungeon is like weak to like holy damage or what is it called, curse damage, dark damage, whatever. And I didn't, since I didn't do any fusions, I had zero freaking personas with those abilities. So I literally just got utterly decked by those guys.
Sounds like a skill issue for not using the
It
game mechanics, if I'm being honest.
it is 100% a skill issue. No question, it is a skill issue. I just need to use fusion more often. I don't know. I didn't use it very much in Persona 5, so I was just kind of like, maybe I don't need it for Persona 4 either.
Well, spoiler
Yeah.
alert, you are really going to need it for Persona 3.
Oh,
is that so?
It is a necessity to learn how to do the fusion good.
Oh God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense. So I did start to fuse a little bit more. I mean, I was creating fusions. I just didn't create any fusions that had holy damage or dark damage at all. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna fix that problem next time and actually make personas that have those abilities. Yeah, I finished up the first dungeon. Got absolutely decked by the boss a couple times, so I went and grinded a little bit. Got better. Came back to the boss. Swapped out some of my equipment so I wouldn't get one shot by the boss every time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I beat her. Great boss. Great little boss there. I really like the concept of this game. That it's literally a murder mystery, and you're trying to solve it. I have an idea. I have a pretty good idea in my head of who the murderer is.
Okay.
Already, no.
I'm pretty sure. But I don't know. I'm open to being surprised.
I'm curious who you think it is.
I think it is the other detective, the younger detective on the force, who works with Dojima.
Okay. I'll tell you this. You get to a point in the game where it gives you a list of every named character in the game and tells you pick one.
Oh, that's great. I'm sure more details will be made available to me. That'll help me narrow that list down a little bit as the game goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't like the way that man was behaving. He had such a guttural reaction to the murder scene, and I'm like, that's a little suspicious. So
Okay.
I'll wait to see if I can unravel it further.
Yeah, I hope you really enjoy your video game adaptation of Part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that was my exact thought as I was playing. I'm like, this is literally JoJo. We even have stands, for Christ's sake. Oh my God. Yeah. Great game though. I enjoyed the first dungeon when I wasn't getting absolutely destroyed. And then of course I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. I put Persona 4 on the back burner while I play Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm sure I'll return to it in like 3 years whenever I'm done with Tears of the Kingdom.
I think I actually played through like half of Persona 4 under leveled because Persona 3 trained me to do fusion too well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Like it wasn't until like the Teddy boss that like I get Teddy and I'm like, why is my character like 10 levels under Teddy? No wonder I was struggling with that boss fight so much.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
It's like after spending like 3 hours to fuse the ultimate Orpheus Telos for the Elizabeth boss fight, I know fusion.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. I still have fond memories of some of the wacky fusions I made in Persona 3. I made what was it? Moat, the one where it's like the persona is a coffin with a scaly hand, an eye, and a horn peeking out. And I made one of those to Charm. I gave it Charm boost, and I gave it the upgraded version of Marin Karen, so it would charm the boss that I was fighting. And it just reach its scaly hand clawed hand out of the coffin and just wave it at the boss, and they'd be, oh my gosh. Oh, I can't fight you. I gotta fight my friends.
Meanwhile, Mitsuru can't hit Mary Karen to save her life.
No, because she's not built for that.
It's like, well, the game seems to disagree because she uses it at every opportunity.
I will say, Aaron, that apparently, I haven't confirmed, but the Persona 3 portable port is kind of
dang.
Like a lot of bad AI upscaling.
Dang, that kind of sucks. I mean, yeah, I mean they did have to upscale it. I wish they had done like a remaster or something that would have been better. Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Especially because that game's like a bazillion years old
It
now.
is. I have heard rumors down the pipeline of a Persona 3 remake.
Oh, that would be great. Um,
That would be, but really, what are the chances?
yeah.
Just throw
Oh,
it in
one.
the Persona 5 engine, man.
Yeah, easy.
Easy.
One
That's
thing
all you do.
I will say I really hate about combat, in at least boss combat, is like every boss has the ability, has like ice wall or fire wall or air wall. And I'm like, okay, let me go and target their way. Oh no, I literally can't because they put resist on their weakness. Well, okay, I guess I just punch them now for like 3 turns. And I'm like, this kind of sucks because now it slows down combat so much. Uh,
You
but
just
yeah.
gotta break those weaknesses.
Yeah, there's like, isn't there like a skill that gets rid of the walls or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Or you just make sure
I'm gonna use that to
a
fucking
physical
unlock.
crit master and just don't care.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll try to
EA's
become
pretty good physical
Arnold
attacks. You
Schwarzenegger.
bump up her crit rate, and she can just straight up delete enemies.
That's beautiful.
Because I love like
Yeah,
her little jump in attack thing that some of the characters do is she just roundhouse kicks an enemy and the enemy just deletes.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone. Most other characters will just knock down enemies or something. She will straight up delete an enemy. And that's
that's
why she's
beautiful.
always in my party.
She
Was
is
she
great.
in my party at the end? I'm trying to think. No, I didn't have her in my party at the end.
How dare you?
Look, I had other priorities.
Understandable.
I'm telling you,
Um,
there's 2 characters that are never leaving my party for completely different reasons, and then I need a healer, and Chie's not a healer.
That's true.
fair. Yeah.
But I mean, Yukiko is a healer.
Why would I put
And
Yukiko in my party?
it's like, I don't know, because she's a healer. And if I'm going to have Chie in my party, then I might as well have Yukiko as the healer, because then they have like the little combo attack thing together.
I guess, but Yukiko.
Yeah. She doesn't really bug me. I just don't care.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Persona 4 is great. When I can get around some of the little annoyances from combat, but yeah, I am enjoying it so far. And like I said, I can't wait to return to it in 3 years when I'm done with Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the only other thing I've been playing, of course, is Tears of the Kingdom, which continues to be fantastic, and I love it. In terms of things I've read, I actually read a lot of manga, a lot of autobiographical manga, in fact.
Hmm.
The first one I read was not an autobiographical manga. I read My Brother's Husband, which is an Eisner Award-winning manga. I think it's like best foreign language um, graphic novel or comic or whatever. It's about a Japanese man goes across the pond to Canada, and there he marries a Canadian dude, and then he dies, and the Canadian dude comes to his to meet up with his brother, the Japanese guy's brother in Japan, who also has a daughter. That's a fantastic manga. Oh my god, I blazed through that. It's super short, but oh my god, yeah, that's like that one really tug at your heartstrings. Oh my god. Um, yeah, that's utterly fantastic. I can see why that won the Eisner. Really good. Next, I read My Dad's an Alcoholic, which is an autobiographical manga about a woman whose father is an alcoholic.
Oh, I never would have
Yeah,
guessed.
yeah. Yeah, it's a really tragic story. Her father is basically like a layabout who drinks excessively. Is kind of a dumb drunk, um, and unfortunately, he's such a burden to the family that the writer's mom ends up actually killing herself, which is like, damn, like to add insult to injury. So yeah, it's literally one tragic turn after the next. And eventually, though, it settles on like she ends up like reconciling with her dad, and everything turns out kind of okay in the end. Um, so yeah, it's a tearjerker. It's a heartbreaker, but I'm glad I read it. I think it's a really good autobiography. I read, in keeping with, I seem to be reading a lot of gay manga for some reason. I don't know how this is. I promise this is not normal, but I it does happen. I read The Girl That Can't Get a Girlfriend, which is an autobiographical manga who follows the author who is, she was born in Japan, but she lived in the US all her life. Um, she's super big into manga and anime, though, so she wrote a manga that was published in Japan and that was then translated into English and sent uh, over here to the US. And yeah, it's pretty much she falls in love with this girl in Japan who's like a foreigner, and they date for a couple months. She is absolutely enamored, and then they break it off because her girlfriend doesn't want a long distance relationship, and basically it messes her up for like years. Um, so that's another heartbreaker. But in the end, it all turned out okay. She got her crap together. She had a better time. She found some better friends and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a great manga. She has a great art style too. Um, so that's that. That's all the graphic novels and comics and etc. that I read. Next, I finished up Words of Radiance. I think I've mentioned this like 3 times to you now, Zach. But
Probably, yeah.
yeah, I finished Words of Radiance. God, that book is great. I still am freaking out that Suzette got Nightblood. That's insane. Um, that's a really freaking good.
Such a good book.
After I finished, yeah, after I finished that, I started reading Arcanum Unbounded. Since last we talked, I finished up. What else did I finish up? Because I started Shadows for Silence in the Forests of Hell.
Hey.
Which I don't think it takes place on the planet of whatchamacallit,
Serenity?
Stormlight Archive. Yeah, isn't it a different planet in the same system? Am I crazy?
It's not on the same planet as Stormlight. It's not Roshar.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay. I skipped White Sand. Just to read. Okay, no, that's still that. Finished up Mistborn Secret History. That's great, all in all. I cannot wait to see what other escapades Kelsier is going to get up to being in a, a place. Yeah, that's a great. That was a great novella. I'm still most excited for Edge Dancer. Can't wait to experience Lift in all of her wacky, zany silliness. And that, as they say. Anyway, Mitchell, lay it on us. What have you been up to in the last almost month?
All right, let's see.
Got to get out the list.
Break out the list. I've been a little busy the past few weeks with work as we transition into the summer season, so I haven't done too terrible much. But let's see. I guess I'll start with that. I finally got around to finishing Breath of the Wild.
As did
Hey.
I.
Yes. So I guess we're talking about that. I completed all of the Master Sword trials. Good grief. Good grief, those
That had to
things.
have been experience.
That was quite an experience. So you know, like that one random shrine on an island where you get all your gear removed and you just have to like piece weapons together to try and win. Okay,
Yep.
now imagine that, but like 20 floors with Lynels and Guardians.
Oh.
That's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Do you know how? And you don't even get like the spirit abilities like Daruk's shield or anything.
Oh.
Or Brothos Fury. So it's like, hey, do you know how to parry Guardian lasers yet? Not really. You better learn quick.
Oh. Oh no!
You know how to parry guardian lasers? No. Would you like to?
Would you all like to? Because you better. Fortunately, I followed like a little guide, handy dandy guide that leads you to a bunch of treasure chests. So by the end, I did have like about 6 or 7 ancient arrows, which can
Mm-hmm.
like one-shot guardians
Yep.
if you shoot them in the eye and can delete Lionel. So it was a lot of the trials boils down to resource management and knowing when to use certain items, when to use your good weapons, when to use good shields, when to use this, and when to just throw away your trash stuff on trash mobs
Mm-hmm.
and just try not to get hit. There's also a small exploit where you eat a giant defense buff right before you enter the trials because the buff carries over and then you don't take as much damage.
Ah.
And then you just try and get through as far into the trials you can before it wears off. So fortunately that helps a lot. And I fully upgraded the Master Sword. I feel so good.
Well done.
I didn't do those.
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
buy the DLC.
Yeah. It's like, ah man, it's worth it for the motorcycle though.
Maybe.
I don't know, the motorcycle's pretty fun though. But yeah. It's like, and then I marched through Hyrule Castle and just explored every inch of Hyrule Castle that I could. That was a ton of fun.
That's
That
one of my
almost felt
favorite
like a
parts of
proper
the
dungeon.
entire game.
Almost felt like a proper dungeon, almost.
It's a dungeon, but not a Zelda dungeon. It's like a D&D dungeon.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of
Yeah,
combat
indeed.
stuff.
Yeah. It's real fun when you find like a good way to approach like a small group of enemies in a room,
Hmm.
mess with them. Like I think there was like one group of enemies. I just plopped like a bunch of like ice chew jelly right outside the door and shot an arrow into the room. And when they all came out, I froze them all.
Nice.
And I just like threw a meteor rod everywhere and just fireballs bouncing everywhere. Enemies burning alive.
Screaming in pain.
It's like when you figure out how to get wacky with Breath of the Wild, it is fun. So I can't imagine the kind of shenanigans people will get up to in Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, I already foresee it being even more crazy than Breath of the Wild, easily.
Oh, definitely, it's gonna get wacky, but yeah, I like how they just seem to really embrace the let's just let people do whatever they want, just really open up the freedom of the combat. But yeah, and then I beat Ganon, and Ganon was a lot of fun. I did restart the boss fight a couple times because I'm like, I'm getting hit too many times, and it's not cool enough. I'm not being cool enough. I'm not dodging and doing enough flurry rushes. I want it to be cooler.
I understand.
It needs to look cool when I do it. Otherwise,
It's like
what's the point?
I went through all the trouble of upgrading the Master Sword. I want to look cool while I do it. But yeah, I liked the Ganon fight. I liked when all the other champions fired down the big laser and knocked him down. It's good. It's all good, and it's all worth it when you get to Zelda at the end. It's all good.
Yeah.
But what do you think, Zach? Give us your opinions.
Well, I finished it, and there are parts of that game that I love. I love the Great Plateau. I love the Lost Woods, and I love Hyrule Castle. There are parts of that game that I like. I like a lot. I like a lot of the lead up to the Divine Beasts. I like some of the exploration. There are some areas that I think are gorgeous and are a lot of fun to explore. I like the moments where I'm just riding around and all of a sudden the music changes and I look up in the sky and I see a dragon. That's
Yeah.
really cool. There are parts of this game I don't like. I don't like climbing, and there's a lot of climbing in this game. Combat
And
is
it always rains whenever you want to climb something.
yeah, it does. Yes, it does.
Why does it always?
Always, every single time.
Why?
I don't like that there are parts of the Great Plateau where it's like, oh, knock down a tree to make a bridge across this chasm,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
that
never shows up again. Never
never.
again. Never again.
And even if it does, you probably have Rivali's Gale, and you can just jump over it.
Rivali's Gale is busted strong.
Oh, it's so busted strong. Especially if you get the DLC where you can get upgraded versions of all their powers.
Oh
that
my gosh.
quicken their cooldown. They don't really make them more powerful, they just lower the cooldown.
Hmm.
So Rivali's Gale like refreshes in like 30 seconds.
Golly.
Nice.
Man. I don't. Combat is hit or miss for me. Sometimes it's a lot of fun. Other times it's just tedious. And there are a bunch of times where I just want to avoid it because I don't want to use my weapons.
Yep.
Fair.
And there are parts of this game that I just kind of hate. I really didn't like any of the Divine Beasts all that much. I like the bird one. But all the other ones, it's like, okay, it's the exact same thing I've done with all the others. I'm gonna manipulate the dungeon, and that's cool. That's really cool in concept, but in practice, it's like, okay, but I just have to do these 5 things. It doesn't matter the order, doesn't matter anything. It's not a Zelda dungeon. This is just a bunch of shrines kind of connected to each other.
Yeah.
Nope. I like them. I like the Divine Beasts. I disagree.
It's not what I'm looking for in a Zelda dungeon.
That's fair. I remember liking most of them. I think there's one that's like an elephant. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pretty boring. There's
I don't think I like that one, but I liked all the others.
Yeah, the elephant one was the first one I did, so I barely remember it. I remember lifting up the trunk and doing stuff with that. I did like the bird. I saved that one for last, and that was fun. I kind when I say I kind of hate this game, I'm being a bit hyperbolic. I hate parts of this game, but for the most part, it's fine. It's just not my taste. Yeah, it's a fine game that I don't know that I'll ever go back to. I'm glad to have beaten it.
I don't think I'm ever going to revisit Breath of the Wild, except if I really want to collect the rest of the Korok seeds, and I don't know if I do.
Why would you want to do that?
I think it's too big for me.
Dude, you climb the tallest mountain in the game. Like that's a huge feat. You have to prepare for that a ton. You have a ton of resources to do that. You climb all the way to the top, and what is up there? A rock. You pick it up, and you get a Korok seed. A golden piece of poop.
Yeah.
And it laughs at you.
It's like, I just like the little jingle when I collect things, okay?
See, I don't mind Korok seeds when they're either a little fun side story, like with the one in Tears of the Kingdom that we were talking about, where you're helping this Korok across a little gap to be with his friend. That's fun. And I don't mind the ones where it's very quick, like just put this block in this place, put this rock in a circle. That's fun. That's fine because it's a little exploration, a reward for exploration. But some of them are just dumb. Some of them are just really dumb.
Do we know if there's another 900 in Tears of the Kingdom?
I don't know if there's 900, but they're certainly there. Ugh. Yeah, a lot of the game just feels tedious to me. And again, the combat real like the whatever the island was where you lose all your gear. That was really cool, except that it saved way away from the island, like on the last piece of land you touched outside of the island, so you have to go all the way back every time you want to attempt the island. But the concept is really cool.
The thing is that I just beat it on my first attempt because...
Well, I tried it early on, so...
You're awesome.
I tried it before I got the Master Sword, so I didn't have a ton of hearts. Yeah, Lost Woods were fantastic, and I did like the final boss. I know it's a bit of a spectacle thing, but I really did like it, and yeah. I had not seen.
Well, there's like the
bit of it.
proper. There's like the Spider Ganon fight, which is like a legitimately good fight, and then there's the Beast Ganon, which is spectacle. So.
Yeah, the Beast Ganon fight I didn't know existed. I somehow avoided that all these years.
Wow.
So it was a nice little hey, let's do that. That was fun.
Yeah. It was funny because it like plops you on the horse. But since I had the motorcycle, I immediately jumped off the horse. And Zelda's like, Link, what are you doing?
Get on your horse, Link. I have
And I'm
something
like,
better than a
no.
horse.
I'm like, no, I went to the trouble of getting the motorcycle. I'm using the motorcycle. And then I think my horse got beamed, which is unfortunate. And as I rode away, I'm pretty sure my horse got obliterated by a laser beam.
See, I had Epona because
sounds
of
about right.
amiibos.
Man, I had to just hunt down like an Epona lookalike and just deal with it.
Yeah.
I just got
Yeah,
that
here's a
really
brown horse,
massive
that'll
one.
work.
Oh, you got the giant horse?
Oh, you got the big horse?
Oh.
Man. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. It's a very good game that I don't like. And I missed old school Zelda, and I'll talk about that during my weeks.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we know if there's like proper dungeons in
I've
Tears of
been
the
told
Kingdom
there
yet?
are dungeons.
Whoop whoop, but
They
proper
are
dungeons?
a lot closer to regular, like I've heard the dungeons themselves are a lot more like traditional Zelda dungeons, but the approach is you can approach them from multiple different areas.
Interesting.
Which
So
is
maybe more like a
fine
Hyrule
by me.
Castle.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Hyrule
Like
Castle.
the entrance, like entering the castle, entering is more like entering Hyrule Castle, but the dungeon itself is more like a traditional Zelda dungeon. And if that's the
Yeah.
case, awesome. I'm fine with that. That sounds great.
Yeah, because I did like sneak into Hyrule Castle a few times for like quest stuff and like getting pictures of getting pictures of weapons and stuff.
And
But then when I was ready
the-
to begin, and I just like charge in on the motorcycle, smashing my way through Guardians. It's like right smash through the front gates, ready to take on Ganon.
nice.
Just march right up to him
I did like all the lore
because
stuff
I
you get
wanted
in
it to
Hyrule
look
Castle.
cool.
I did like all the
Yeah.
lore stuff you get in Hyrule Castle. You get an actual reason why Link is a silent protagonist. It is because he chooses not to speak because he has like PTSD or something.
Yep. He feels the weight of the responsibility of being the bearer of the sword and chooses to be the stoic, silent protagonist.
Yes.
Because as long as he's not freaking out, then everyone else will feel safer or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Which is interesting.
Some anime crap like that.
Some dumb anime thing, but it's a reason, and I like that.
Always down for reasons.
Yep, I like reasons. There's also the one where
Yeah.
Zelda tries to convince him to eat a frog.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I also like in the Age of Calamity game, there's like a scene where Link is just like straight up eats a rock. Where like you're in the Goron village and they pass him a plate of rocks and he just
how he is.
It cuts to the Breath of the Wild pause screen. And he's
yeah. So apparently Link's just built different.
Apparently. Yeah. Oh, and there was and I got all of the memories as well, and the memories were great.
The memories add a lot.
Especially that last memory. That last memory was fantastic.
Which one is that? Like, which one?
It's the one the 13th one.
Man, I don't remember what the numbers are. What happens?
It's the one that is you get all 12, and then Impa says, "All right, go get the other one." It's the one where it's in the field of a bunch of dead guardians, like the swamp or whatever it is.
Okay.
And it's
You
the
can share it
last
if you
one
want,
in
I
the
don't really mind.
timeline.
Okay, is that like the one where like we see what happens right before Link gets taken to the?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's kind of like the Darkest Hour one.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now I know.
That one was great. The one
Very
in
emotional, very sad.
the one in the woods where it's the one that was in all the trailers where Zelda is crying and everyone was like, wow, this English voice acting,
Yeah, that was weird, but yeah, I don't know.
You listen to the Japanese voice acting, and Zelda her soul is wrenching out as she cries, and then you listen to the English voice acting, and she sniffles just a little bit. She's a little sad.
I think that was like a directing thing because like the voice actress for Zelda was like, they wanted me to do this weird accent for some reason. I don't know how to do it well, so
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The voice direction across the game was a little odd. But now they have Matt Mercer.
Ash Ganondorf.
Yeah. He somehow found time between all of Critical Role.
Man's a machine.
Man, that guy, I hope he doesn't work himself to death because, boy, he does a ton of work for Critical Role.
Yeah.
DMing something of that quality every week, and on top of that, building out all the maps and everything, and building like actual little tiny maps with Dwarven Forge stuff because they have money. It's nuts.
That's let's see. So I
Popular.
did finish
It's very popular for a good reason.
Yeah. I wish I had time to watch Critical Role, but I don't really have much time.
Yeah,
I understand. I have not bothered to listen.
I'm still way behind on campaign. I'm still somewhere in the middle of campaign 2, and I want to finish that before I really jump into campaign 3. So, yeah,
I thought you were about to say before I die. I don't know why, but right when you were saying that, I thought you said, I really want to finish that before I die. And I was like, oh.
Before I die.
I'm like, yeah, I mean, certainly put that on your bucket list.
Yeah, bucket list.
Well, let's see, what else have I done? I only like got through like the first case in Danganronpa 2, and then I kind of put it down for some reason. Probably because I just beat Danganronpa 1 and wanted a break.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I knew that guy was being weird. He was like too friendly.
Yeah.
He's too weird.
Yeah, why is this character being so friendly? It's because this. Oh, now I understand.
Oh, I figured. So yeah, I'm invested. I want to see what happens, but yeah, I just wanted a break from Danganronpa 1.
Fair.
Unfortunately, this time I did not accidentally try and befriend the murderer, at least. Like in Danganronpa 1, where I kept trying to hang out with murderers. So there was literally one case where I just like, where I'm like, okay, I hung out with you and I hung out with you. So it's one of you two. It has to be one of you.
Has to be one of you two because I hung out with you.
It's like, let's say a lot of the evidence points to you right now, so I know you're innocent. Therefore, by process of elimination, it has to be you. I don't know how to prove it yet, but I know.
Oh man, I'm remembering the last case in Danganronpa 2 and how that works out. It's great game.
It's a great game. I'll get back to it at some point. Because currently I started Kingdom Hearts 2.
Hey,
and I decided to be ballsy and try critical mode.
And how did that work out for you?
Man, it's a whole different ball game.
Yes,
just be careful for all the games after that, because I heard it really falls off after Kingdom Hearts 2.
Freaking darn it.
It's like, but yeah, man, that is a long prologue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, it is.
I did the mini game where I juggled the ball around and I juggled it 100 times because I trained with the stupid mushrooms.
Yes, you.
So I knew how to do that. But yeah, since I defeated the mysterious stranger in Kingdom Hearts 1 on standard, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try critical mode. Oh dang. Oh dang. This is a different ball game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I kept the stupid like centaur things on the Mulan world give me a lot of issues.
way to deal with those is if you knock them into the air, they are stunned until they fall back to the ground.
Okay.
So, and they
I
take a
kind of
while to
just
fall to the ground.
I kind of was just a coward and hit them from afar with ice.
That also works, yeah. Do you have the upper slash ability?
I do not think I do yet.
Okay, because it's a thing where in the middle of your combo, if you press square, he'll do a launcher. He'll launch him up into the air.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
That's
still
really
trying to
useful.
figure out the combat. The problem is that since I die so quickly, I don't get a lot of time to really figure out the intricacies yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's see. I did manage to get through Mulan, and even though Mickey had to come save my butt at the boss fight.
Yeah.
And then I managed to get through Beauty and the Beast world.
Mhm.
That was a fun boss fight.
Oh yeah, that boss is so cool.
Is Mickey still Lord Mickey in
King
Kingdom
Mickey.
Hearts 2?
He's King Mickey.
Oh.
He is King Mickey the entire series, except like in some of the prequels. Wait, no, he's always King Mickey. That may be in the mobile game, but that's weird.
Fair.
Yeah, the Beauty and the Beast boss fight was fun because I managed to like do the triangle reaction command,
Oh
knock him down, do the beast limit break, and I popped Valor and whacked him once,
nice.
and it looked super nice.
Nice. Oh yeah, so drive forms level up differently than regular leveling up.
Okay, fun.
So Valor form levels up with every melee hit, with every attack you do with it. That gives you 1 experience point in Valor form.
Okay.
The next form should be Wisdom, levels up with each Heartless kill you get. You have to land the final blow on the Heartless, and that includes bosses that are Heartless. Each of those will give you 1 experience point in Wisdom, and generally that's a lot. It's not like 1,000 points or anything.
Okay.
Wisdom, or no, not Wisdom. Master form. I believe that's the third one. I know it's the third one in the original game, but it might be Limit in Final Mix. Limit, you just use the limits, and each limit gives you 1 experience point. Master form, each drive orb that you pick up gives you a bunch, so it's probably the easiest to level up just because you just get a ton of drive orbs and it keeps you in the form longer.
Okay.
And then final form, the way you level up is with nobody kills, so it's the hardest one to level up.
Fun. It's like, yeah. Yeah, I'm terrified of what these super bosses are going to be like on critical mode.
Some of them are a ton of fun, and others are bad.
Oh no. Yeah, unfortunately, with Kingdom Hearts, it's just knowing how to deal with the mechanics of the fight and then learning how to do that. So
yeah, generally. There's that, and then there's the bosses. There's the ones where it's just learn the mechanics of the fight, and then there's others where it's dodge and counter, basic stuff.
Dodge and counter, yeah. When do I unlock that reflect thing? Because
you should be getting reflect not too long from now.
Okay, because I
reflect is
just
really
beat
good.
Beauty and the Beast world.
I
on like mid
think
or whatever.
I think it's Olympus. I
Okay.
think. See, I know a lot. I know some of the magic better from the original when you get it. Final Mix changed things around, so I'm less familiar.
Okay.
Like, Reflect didn't exist in original Kingdom Hearts 2. I forget when you get it in the Final Mix version.
All right.
Reflect didn't exist and Magnet didn't exist. Magnet is one of the last ones you get, but I think you get Reflect pretty soon.
Okay, good. So I've heard that kind of helps things.
Yes, it does. Oh boy, Reflect is really powerful.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like once I actually unlock abilities and skills and things, the combat will open up, and I will have more options to deal with things.
Yeah.
As opposed to now where it's like slowly run away and pray.
Yeah. Oh, and your dodges you get from the forms. So high jump you'll get from leveling up Valor form.
Okay.
Quick run, which is like a dodge, but you move farther, you get from wisdom form. Dodge roll you'll get from limit form. Aerial dodge, which is new, and it's also a double jump kind of. You'll get from master form, and glide you get from final form.
Okay.
They're not necessary for the game. The entire game is built to where you can just guard and move. But the extra dungeon at the end of the game.
Yeah, but I keep trying to dodge roll because I'm used to having that.
Yeah.
That's kind of messing me up and getting me killed a lot. So I kind of want that back.
Yeah. You should be getting wisdom form pretty soon, so you'll be able to get quick run not too long after that. And quick run's a really good dodge. And it's also a fast way to get around.
All right. But yeah, I kind of stopped playing Kingdom Hearts 2 for a little bit because I decided I'm gonna get the PlayStation Plus thing so that I can play the original God of War games.
Oh.
Okay.
So I've been playing God of War.
Nice.
1.
Like the original ones?
The original trilogy.
Nice.
Yeah. Those are fun little hack and slash games that I'm not good at, and I suck at QTEs so bad.
Yeah.
Quick, press X now. It's like, oh god, which one is it? I'm used. It's like, why? Why do they put the X on a different button on every controller?
It is a more combat-focused Zelda game, kind of. In some ways.
In some ways.
Wait. No, I'm thinking of Darksiders. God of War is the quintessential action adventure game.
The quintessential hack and slash.
Well, I'd say more action adventure because it's more than just combat.
Yeah, there's some puzzles, but I mean, are you playing God of War for puzzles?
Not the originals. Some platforming too.
Yeah, but the platforming is not fun. Listen, I beat God of War. I got through Hades. Screw that platforming.
Of the originals, I've only played 3, and the platforming in that was fine. It was fine.
Okay, well, in God of War 1, Kratos dies and goes to Hades, and you have to balance along these spinning platforms with blades on them. And if a blade so much as nicks your little toe, you get knocked back and off, and you fall off, and you restart way back at the beginning.
Oh, fun.
Sounds like fun.
And you have to jump between these spinning platforms while fighting enemies. And then you get to these giant columns that you have to climb that are spinning, and they have blades. And if a blade so much as nicks your little toe, you fall all the way to the bottom and have to try again. And there's 2 of these towers. I legit got stuck for over an hour at these 2 stinking towers. I nearly put down the game and moved on to 2. I was so done with this. So no, screw this platforming. I hate it.
Well, it's only up from there.
God, I hope so.
Some people would disagree, at least in terms of the story, but I don't know that I agree with them. Like, I've heard people complain that in God of War 1, it's very tasteful with the Greek mythology references. And then 2 and 3, it's just throw them at the wall.
Yeah.
Kind of like how God of War or Data Boy was. It was pretty tasteful with the references.
Mhm.
It didn't throw Thor right in your face right away.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, the whole thing is just going through and so that you can murder Hades. Like, I don't know what's.
Go kill Ares. Kill him.
Go do 'em. Do it. Do it. Yeah, the problem with God of War 1 is that there's like there's only really like two sections that you explore. You explore Athens, and then you spend the last half of the game going through, which is one giant dungeon.
Hmm.
So it gets a little old, in my opinion. I was kind of over it, like 8 hours in. Fortunately, it's only like 9 hours long, so it's like it's only a couple hours left. Like I can power through.
Yeah, remember when AAA games were allowed to be like 10 hours?
Yeah, because they were built to be replayed.
Mm-hmm. And then I look at the copy of God of War Ragnarok sitting on my shelf, and I'm like, oh, or
Oh, that's
Hogwarts
a long
Legacy.
game. It's like, oh, that's a long game.
I love both of those games, but oh my gosh.
Hey, do we need to make us waste 100 hours every single game?
Oh
Can we
geez,
have
Metal
nice
Gear
shit
Solid
delivered?
5. That is the biggest. That's the biggest one because it's like you go from Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4 being about 10 hours long each, and then Metal Gear Solid 5. 10 hours and I'm still not out of Afghanistan.
Oh no. So let's see. So I went through God of War 1. I started God of War 2. Let's see. Kratos died again in the beginning of God of War 2. I'm starting to notice a theme here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kratos dies a lot, but he's just too angry to stay dead.
Man is
And will
too
just
angry to die.
to die. He's too angry to die and will just walk right back out of Hades. So
He is too angry, and he has a god's name that he can yell that is only 1 or 2 syllables.
Zeus,
Ares,
Ares, Zeus,
Zeus.
Ares.
I can only do 1 or
Boy.
2 syllables. Can you imagine if Hephaestus was the villain?
Hephaestus.
Or Dionysus? Man, can't yell that name easy.
You can't.
No, it's got to be Zeus or Ares. That's a nice short name.
Zeus. But yeah. Let's see. I tried to play like some of the PSP ones that they released for God of War, like God of War PSP ones.
Oh,
Chains
yeah.
of Olympus. For some reason, those are not on PlayStation Plus. It seems that they removed those at some point. I don't know why.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can get them on my Vita. I don't know. Do they still support the Vita at all? I need to go check and see if they stole my Vita. Did Sony break into my house and get rid of my Vita?
It's like I told you, we're not supporting the Vita anymore.
I just walk into my room and I see a Japanese man in a business suit, in a salaryman business suit, holding my Vita and standing in the window, and he says,
"We're not supporting the Vita
anymore." And then he jumps out.
Let's see.
That sounds about right.
Trying to think what else have I done?
Yeah, wait, no, I was planning on replaying Persona 4 with my old save file, New Game Plus. No.
Too bad it's on Steam now. It's like that's why we put it on Steam.
But I don't want to play it all over again to get that New Game Plus save file again.
It's too late. He's already down the road.
I can't beat the tenacity of a Japanese salaryman.
Nope. I'm just gonna see how long we can hold the silence. Let's see.
Oh, we can hold it for
Yep.
a long time, dude.
Yep, I don't know.
Great content. Great content.
Great content. But yeah, God of War is fun when I can figure out how to do good combos against enemies. But
Square triangle.
yeah, seems to be a good bread and butter. Or launch them up in the air and or toss or grapple them. Those are like the three big ones.
Or use the Poseidon magic.
That one works good in one. But yeah, it's usually like the tough enemies that don't stagger easy that give me issues.
Just like in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh boy! Oh no! Oh no! I'm in critical mode. I'm in danger. Let's see. They released another little update for Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is great.
Yay.
It kind of broke Star
Nice.
Wars: The Old Republic for a few days,
Oh
though.
no.
I straight up could
Sounds
not
about
log
right.
into the game.
Oh no.
They're like, congratulations, we've updated Star Wars: The Old Republic from 32-bit to 64-bit. Great. Also, if you're having trouble logging in, come visit our troubleshooting page. Because it's all spaghetti code, and oh god, what have we done?
They deleted that JPEG of a coconut.
And the
And
whole
now I
thing fell
can't
apart.
access my server
thing
anymore.
crashed.
Whoopsies.
So the coconut JPEG is actually a myth, but there is another JPEG in the code of Team Fortress 2 where if you delete it, it does break the entire game.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's just not as odd as a JPEG of a coconut.
Yeah. So I've been doing some dailies in Star Wars: The Old Republic, still doing my Han Solo run. That's been fun. It's like I've been enjoying the Han Solo run. I enjoy just punching people to death. But
Yeah.
Nice. Wait, doesn't Han Solo use a gun?
I mean, that's the class I picked, and I do have a gun equipped, and yet I end up punching a lot of people to death. Listen, that's just
As one does.
it works, okay?
Just works.
Yeah, I've been throwing the videos up on YouTube. Just how it works. I end up punching people to death. Like it works really well. I apparently don't have a lot of shooting skills. But yeah.
Did Han
always good
Solo ever
playing some-
punch someone?
I don't know.
Yeah. He did in the first sequel. He like punches a dude out.
In Force
Okay,
Awakens?
but those are the sequels.
Yeah.
I don't care
Those are
about
the
that. Did he punch
sequels.
anyone in the original trilogy?
No, I don't think he did, but
I don't
listen,
know.
that's just how the class that I selected worked out, okay? I selected the class where he wields one pistol instead of dual wielding pistols because I figured that would be even more non-canon, but
And then it turns out he's like, I have a left hand that doesn't have a pistol in it. Let me punch people with it.
I can also pistol whip people with the gun, so I can do that.
Listen, use this pistol as a gun. It's a very good club.
Listen, it's also a stealth class, so I can sneak up behind people and shoot them with a shotgun. I don't think Han ever carried a sawed-off shotgun with him, but listen, it's not 100% accurate. I just like Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I'm just terrified that at any moment it's gonna get shut down.
I'm surprised it hasn't.
Yeah, I am convinced that the moment it costs more to run the servers than they make off the cartel market, an alarm is gonna go off at some CEO's office at EA, and they're gonna go, "Oh shit, Star Wars: The Old Republic? I thought we put that down years ago. Better fix that."
Yeah, that's the weird thing. It's EA. You would think that EA, of all companies, would have shut this down years ago.
I'm convinced that they just forgot it exists.
Considering it's EA, they might have.
They might have just forgot that they have it. So again, the moment it stops making money, an alarm is going to go off, and they're going to go, "Oh,
Everyone over at
better fix
BioWare
this
Austin.
problem."
Everyone over at there's some new guy working at BioWare Austin who's like, "Hey, should we call corporate over this?" No,
Like,
no,
no, they don't know we exist. Just lay low, collect your paychecks.
Hey, we kind of broke the game with this update. Maybe we should call for some support over
No,
at the Montreal office. No,
we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it.
Montreal.
can
No,
fix
they
it.
wouldn't have called over at Montreal because the Montreal office got killed after freaking Mass Effect Andromeda.
It's like that's why they don't know Star Wars: The Overflow exists right now. Montreal was like the connecting point that got cut off.
Man,
It's like, oh boy. It's like, I can't wait to get to the expansions and I can start pistol whipping the Immortal Emperor to death as he shocks me with lightning. It's like unlimited power. Han Solo just walks up slowly.
How you doing?
bap.
Learned that. What else? That's about all I've had time to play. So I've just kind of been watching like YouTube in my spare time because I've been busy. There was something I wanted to mention. Was it? I think it was like another animated series. Let's see, Monkey Wrench.
It's called Monkey
Yeah,
Wrench?
it's another like little animated pilot series from an animator I like called Monkey Wrench. He released his second episode. It's by Zero.
Oh
It's
yeah.
really good. I really enjoyed it, and I will recommend that one as well. Let me just pop it in to the Discord. Pop it right in.
This looks cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Ooh. I'll give that a look at some point.
Let's see. Other than that, it's mostly just been work stuff. Trying to think if there was anything else, but I think that was all I've had time to do this week. So onward to you, Zach.
Bam. All right. So, first things first. Did I had I finished? Did I talk about finishing Living Lord Supper last time?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't think so now.
Okay. Well, I finished with that show wrapped up, and that was a lot of fun. I also absolutely killed my voice for like a week. There's a part at the end. It's the Lord's Supper, so we have like a little crucifixion scene where theatrically everything goes dark. We go to a blackout and we just have sounds and music. So we have a guy with he's like hammering the nails, but what he's doing is he has a hook on a block of wood and he's hammering that, and it has a really nice hard metal sound. So he's doing that and timing that with piano chords from our pianist, and everyone else, all the other guys are doing like, haha, crucify him, and making it louder and louder. It gets louder and louder, and all that, and then ends. And at the very end of that, I just scream, crucify him. And the last time I did that, I gave a little too much, and my voice was just dead for a week. And I was in the middle of rehearsals for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which is a sung-through musical.
Yeah.
So my voice was not where it needed to be for that, unfortunately. But it recovered, and that show continued, and we just wrapped it up this past weekend. And that ended up being a lot more fun than I expected, because I'm not really a big fan of Joseph. I don't like the music. I think it's really weird. I think the way it handles the story is really weird. and the music's very Andrew Lloyd Webber. Okay, this song goes on for like 5 minutes. You could have cut like half of this song, and it would have been fine. And then there's songs where it's like you literally could have cut this entire song and lose almost nothing. Why? And it's just very weird. It's very weird, but it was a lot of fun. And from what I heard from from audience members, they absolutely enjoyed it. So
Yeah,
it's a
like,
crowd pleaser.
That did remind me that I did go to a concert last week. That's what I was trying to think of.
Who'd you see?
Icon for Hire.
Don't know them. Which is the case with most of the bands you talk about, unfortunately.
Yeah, I figured that you would not know them.
What would you say their name was again?
Icon for Hire.
Yeah, I can't say I've heard of them either.
All right, I think Aaron might like them.
What kind of music?
Metal of some kind?
Metal?
They're kind of like a metal hip hop type deal. Let's see. Let me pull up their
like Linkin
thing.
Park.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I apologize. That's the only metal hip hop I know.
Good grief. Trying to figure out what they. I don't know. They're a good band. I like them. I think Aaron might like them. They're kind of. They're not quite as heavy as like Black Dresses, but I feel like they have like a similar vibe ish.
Yeah, I listened to the opening of their song Gatekeepers.
Okay.
Pretty dang good. I'm throwing. Do they have a playlist with their album?
Oh yeah, Gatekeepers is good. So yeah, they're a fun band. Can't see them live. They were just in this tiny little venue at the back of a bar. It's the smallest venue I've been to. There was like probably under 50 people there total.
Oh.
But it was a fun night, so that just meant I had a good view of the band at least. And they were like 3 small local bands that I've never heard of and probably will never listen to again. They were fine. It's like they were perfectly okay.
Congratulations, guys. You were adequate.
Okay, like, guys, you were pretty good. I'm gonna forget who you are. But yeah, other than that, just I've been on a big metal binge in particular. So that's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Had fun at the concert. That's always a fun time, and I managed to find a concert that's not on the other side of the country that I can actually get to.
Nice. Oh, anyway, now that Joseph's done, I don't know what I'm gonna do because the next musical with my main community theater is in the fall. Because our summer show is the kids show. I'm not in that. I'm not involved with that. I got to figure out something. I've heard rumors that one of the theaters is going to be doing Hunchback of Notre Dame at some point, and that's Quasimodo's dream role. So maybe we'll see.
Hey, that'd be pretty nice.
Good luck.
We shall see. Yeah, Joseph ended up being a lot more fun than I expected. In terms of let's start with video games. So, Breath of the Wild, beat Breath of the Wild.
Woo!
But
yeah,
glad to have beaten that game.
It's like such a great, excellent game with 0 flaws.
Yes.
Anyway, I played a different game. After that, I decided, you know what? I really want to play a Zelda game because I didn't get my Zelda fix with Breath of the Wild.
It's like, but it's a Legend of Zelda game.
So I played a Zelda game. I went and I played Ocarina of Time again for the first time in ages.
Oh, classic.
Yes. Yeah, that game's an absolute classic. It is still my favorite Zelda game, one of my favorite games. I was planning on getting not just all the heart pieces, but all the gold Skulltulas, because I'd never done that. And so I followed a guide like, all right, get this gold Skulltula here, this one here, yada yada yada. And then I get to Adult Link, and I finally am able to turn in I'm finally able to turn in all of the gold Skulltulas, and I turn them in, and I'm like, hold on, 42? I should have 43.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, that's always the most terrifying thing.
And so I just kind of look at the list that I was going through, and I'm like, I thought I grabbed all of these. Well, okay, not getting all the gold Skulltulas anymore.
Howard.
I will get 8 more, and then get the giant wallet, or no, not the giant, the piece of heart, and that's it. And so I did that instead. I got the giant wallets, or I got all the rewards from the gold Skulltulas except for the very last one, which is just you can get infinite rupees anytime you want, which isn't really all that useful.
Yeah, there's not much to spend your money on in Ocarina of Time.
No. I did get all of the heart pieces. So I got all the magic stuff. I had a very nice, big, beautiful 20 hearts. Yep. All doubled because my defense was doubled thanks to the last great fairy and a giant magic bar. And I had all the magic all the arrows. I had fire and ice arrows, even though fire and ice arrows really don't do anything in Ocarina of Time. They're completely optional and they don't do much. I don't know, in all of my playthroughs of Ocarina of Time, I don't know that I've ever used ice arrows a single time.
I feel like they were needed for like a dungeon puzzle or something, but other than that,
nope.
Not in like combat.
They are not needed for a dungeon puzzle. Not in Ocarina of Time.
Huh.
They are part of you get them in the dungeons, and they're used in dungeons in Majora's Mask.
That's what I'm thinking of.
In Ocarina of Time, they are completely optional. The fire arrows are a secret where you go to Lake Hylia after you've beaten the water temple, and you shoot an arrow into the sun at a certain point.
Oh, yeah.
And then the ice arrows, you have to beat the Gerudo training grounds, which you can only beat after you've gotten all of the items from the spirit temple. So you get them at the very end of the game, and I don't know that I have ever used them once.
Yeah, I don't know if they're used for anything. Maybe like the weird fire and ice witch boss, maybe they do more damage or something.
I tried using a fire arrow on the ice Twinrova, and it didn't do anything.
Alright, don't know.
Nope. I did think of that, but nope, unfortunately no. Ocarina of Time's not a perfect game, but I absolutely love it. It is the quintessential 3D Zelda game.
You know what else isn't a perfect game? Breath of the Wild.
Oh, no, it's not.
I love it.
It is not
it's
a
like,
perfect
but
game.
I love it anyway. It's alright. Alright, you.
See, here's the thing where Ocarina of Time scratches an itch that Breath of the Wild doesn't. For me, Zelda is primarily three things in this order: dungeon, exploring the world, and kind of getting stuff like finding little secrets here and there, and then story. And those last two are pretty even, but dungeons are my favorite part of Zelda. Breath of the Wild doesn't have dungeons. Breath of the Wild went all in on the exploration.
What are you talking about? They swapped out the dungeons for the shrines, and honestly, I think everybody can agree it was the better choice.
That's definitely the consensus on the internet. You should go post that onto Twitter.
Yeah. Sure, they love that there.
You should go post that into the Breath of the Wild subreddit.
Do it.
Oh, they love it.
I'm sure everyone on the Zelda subreddit would love to hear that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, hang on, I'll pull it up right now. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
How much will you pay me to do it?
I ain't paying you a dime. Your reward, your payment is your sense of pride and accomplishment.
You're not good enough for me.
Get all that negative karma. But yeah, Ocarina of Time, absolutely love it, and the end of the game, still just such a great climax to the game. It's one of the end of the game is one of the few places that I think the 3DS remake actually looks worse than the N64 original. Generally, I think the N64 remake, as much as I don't really like Link's model in the game, I think the game overall looks better than the N64. Except for the N64 tends to have a bit more atmosphere because of the draw distance being obscured by mist and it being just a bit darker. The lighting is darker, so it's especially noticeable in the Forest Temple I found. And so that's a place where I think the N64 looks better, and the final boss definitely looks better in the original because Ganon is just entirely in shadow, and his eyes are just are piercing through it. It's really intimidating, and then you just see little bits. You see glimpses of him in the lightning as that strikes, whereas in the 3DS version, he's lit the whole time, so you can see him very easily, and the lighting is good, but it's not as good as the lack of it in the original.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of the problem with both the remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, is that there's a lot of good quality of life changes that really help make the playthrough easier, but they kind of sacrifice some of that. Just
Majora's Mask,
atmosphere.
from everything I've seen, is even worse in that regard because they made a lot of gameplay
Majora's
changes.
They made Zora swimming a pain in the butt now because you can't just swim. You have to use magic to do that swim now, and it sucks. All the bosses now have giant stupid eyes that you have to hit instead of just being bosses.
And ice
The
arrows
Twin
were
Robot was just straight up ruined.
Straight
up ruined. You don't get to punch them anymore. You have to like fight them legit, and they're stupid and dumb, and I hate it.
And the ice
But
arrows,
you have a
they messed up the
proper
ice
side
arrows.
quest thing now.
They messed up the ice arrows in Majora's Mask. In the N64 original, it says play around with them, try them anywhere. I think the actual line in the description is try them anywhere, and you can shoot the ice arrows at any point in the water, and it'll make a little ice platform there. In the remake, you have to shoot at these little bubble areas, and it'll only make a platform there, except in the boss arena, and it never tells you.
Whoopsies. Yeah.
It's got to make Yorg even worse.
Yeah. I still wouldn't say the remake is worse than the original because you do have like a proper side quest guide and you can more easily like manipulate the time. You can like pick the specific hour.
But they also nerfed the inverted Song of Time, so it slows time down to 50% instead of 33%.
Yeah. That being said, I never really needed time to be that much slower, so
it really helps in the Great Bay Temple.
It does, but I still got through pretty fairly easily on the remake, so it is difficult. Like it's really difficult to say which one was. But the remake is fine. It still works, but it does miss some of that charm. But it does have like some good quality of life stuff.
I'd say the like Ocarina of Time, I think you can make an argument for the original, but I think in general the remake is better. Whereas Majora's Mask,
it's harder to make an argument with the Majora's Mask one.
Well, also because Majora's Mask, like the art style in Ocarina of Time, the change in the Ocarina of Time remake, it fits the game pretty darn well. Whereas with Majora's Mask, half the reason that game is so creepy is because of the graphics.
The old models.
Yeah, the old
weird
models. They work so well, and the moon especially. I don't like the moon in the Majora's Mask remake.
It's too smooth.
It's too smooth and it's too overtly angry.
Yeah.
But speaking of, well, wait, oh no, the one last thing on Ocarina of Time, the Spirit Temple is now one of, if not my favorite dungeons in all of Zelda. I absolutely loved it. I love that it used all of the items from the other dungeons, and also made really good use of its own items. It's just, it's so good. And the atmosphere is fantastic and everything. And the Mirror Shield is my favorite shield in Zelda. But then after that, I had a little bit of time before Tears of the Kingdom came out, so I started playing Majora's Mask.
Okay.
I haven't beaten Majora's Mask. I plan on getting all the heart pieces and all of the masks.
Let's see. The remake or the original?
Original, because I'm playing on my Switch.
Nice.
And that's a pretty good version. There's not nearly as much slowdown as I remember because I played on the GameCube version, and for some reason the GameCube version of Majora's Mask has a lot of slowdown. In fact, I thought, as a kid when I played that game, I thought that the Song of Inverted Time also slowed down Link, because every time I would use it right out of the gate at the beginning of the day, I would turn the camera toward the town, and immediately everything would be slow because the game is struggling to process everything.
Yeah.
So I've gotten through both Woodfall and Snowhead. I got my Gilded Sword. I got Epona. I'm getting through the Pirate Fortress. So I have all three of the masks now. I've gotten a bunch of the other masks. That game is fantastic. That is, I think I've said it before, but Majora's Mask is one of the best games I've played ever.
Yeah.
Not my favorite
It is
Zelda
great.
game, but it is, I would say, the best, and it's a phenomenal game besides.
Yep. It's great. It's got a great completion reward for getting all the masks. It's just being able to curb stomp the final boss.
Yeah.
Especially if you also do one side quest that gives you like the milk that gives you infinite magic.
Oh yeah, the Chateau.
The chateau. The alcoholic milk question mark?
Yes, definitely. It's alcohol. It also
is it a White Russian? Is that what it is?
It's also very It also has a very depressing use. One time, if you do the Romani Ranch quest and you go and you stick around till the final hours, you can go into the barn where they're staying, and Romani's really scared. So her sister's like, "Don't worry, we'll here. You can sleep here. You can sleep in my bed tonight. And you know what? I'll let you have a bit of the chateau."
Real sad, real messed up.
Oh.
It's like, oh, don't like that's
Such an understated dark game.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
That's what makes it great.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't beaten Majora's Mask. If Tears of the Kingdom ends up, if I'm playing that game and I'm still not getting my Zelda fix, I can always run back to Majora's Mask.
Yep.
I have a feeling that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be pretty great, though.
Yeah.
I certainly hope it is.
Yep. I hope so too.
Mm-hmm.
Glowing reviews across the board.
Yeah, glowing reviews. Double check. Is that all I played? I played a little bit of Mario Kart 8, continuing to go through the DLC maps. Those are a lot of fun. It's really nice to be able to play through the Mario Kart Tour maps without having to pay microtransactions. Or multiple microtransactions at the very least. And I believe that, honestly, that's about all I played. No. I'm still playing through Final Fantasy VI. and that game's fantastic. I have all the party members, and I'm just getting
Nice.
ready to go to Kefka's Tower. I'm leveling up and getting everyone a bunch of getting them magic, because I have some characters where, okay, I need to take one of these children, but I didn't get any magic on this one, but this one is under leveled as crap. What do I do? So I still have party members that I need to train up a bit before I can take on Kefka's Tower. That is a great game. That is a great
Yeah,
game.
I thought about getting the 'cause they just released the 1 through 6 pixel remaster.
Oh
Am I
yeah,
thinking those
yeah,
are-
yeah.
1 through 6, pickle. What?
Yeah, the Final Fantasy
Pixel
1 through
remaster.
6 pixel remasters.
Wow.
Yeah, they just launched on PS5, maybe PS4. They've gotten pretty darn good reviews. Everybody
yeah.
says they're just as good as the original, and they look
They
better,
are.
so-
They are phenomenal. Like absolutely phenomenal. From everything I've heard, they are, except for maybe the 3D remakes of 3 and 4, the best ways to play those games.
Hmm.
Alright, cool. More stuff for the backlog. Oh boy, my favorite.
I've also heard some people say like some of the PSP remasters are really good because they add a bunch of extra content. But the pixel remasters are the most faithful to the original remakes while also being fantastic, as opposed to like some of the GBA remakes, which have some issues. And the pixel remaster of 6 is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah,
Says it's on Steam. Let's see.
that is all I've played. Oh yeah, they released all of the pixel remasters individually on Steam ages ago, like as they came out. It was Steam and mobile when they originally released, and now they're on console in a pack.
Yep, 1 through 6 packet.
Nice.
Of those, I definitely
nice.
I'm playing through 6, and I definitely want to play 5. I don't know about 4, 3, or 1 and 2. I don't know that I ever want to play Final Fantasy 2 because that is a bad game.
You do not. You do not want to play 2. I also tried, I think 3, and I got bored after like 4 hours.
3 is the first one to ever have a job system, which is really cool. It's also been implemented better in other Final Fantasy games, including 5, which is just a straight upgrade to Final Fantasy 3 in almost every regard in that case.
Yeah. Or no, I got bored of Final Fantasy 4 after like 4 hours.
I don't know about 4. I've heard some people really like 4 because a lot of people are nostalgic for it.
Yeah. I gave it a try. I kind of got bored after a while, but I don't know. It's not bad. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man, but the soundtrack is great. That boss theme is like the most quintessential Final Fantasy fight song. Oh, and they redid the soundtrack for all the Pixel remasters, and it's fantastic.
Nice.
The drummer is. I saw this in the comments of one of the tracks on YouTube, and the drummer for the Pixel remaster soundtracks is this like 12-year-old girl who is the youngest person on like the top 500 drummers list.
Dang. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look this up. 12.
That's about it for what I played. I have been reading stuff. So I think last time I had started, I had gotten like through book 1 of Fellowship of the Ring, and yesterday I finished Return of the King.
Nice.
So I have finally finished reading The Lord of the Rings. I don't
Fantastic.
I don't know that I'd say it's my favorite book fantasy series, but this does just cement Lord of the Rings as my favorite fantasy series.
Nice. Okay.
It's
Absolute classic.
a lot of people say you just got to get through Fellowship to get used to his writing style. If you can get through Fellowship, then you'll have adjusted. It took me almost to the end of Two Towers to adjust. But I did adjust. And then I noticed by the end of Two Towers, there were times where I'd be reading where I'm like, oh wow, I just burned through like 5-10 pages and I didn't even realize it. I was just lost in it. And then all through Return of the King, it was just that throughout the entire way through. And it was such a good experience. And especially getting through Frodo and Sam's section in book 6 at the beginning of book 6 where they're making the final trek toward Mount Doom. It's such a heavy, heart-wrenching experience, and it's written so well. And then I also read The Scouring of the Shire, which is one of the last chapters in Lord of the Rings. So I got to experience.
Yeah, very strange turn.
You go home and guess what? It's not over yet. Because guess what? It doesn't work like that in real life. Not everything is just all peachy clean, squeaky clean at the end. Yeah, that was really cool, really cool. I don't think the movies suffer from cutting it out, but it is cool to have it in there.
Yeah, Sauron was defeated, but the true villain, industrialism, prevailed.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
That's one of the themes of The Lord of the Rings.
You know what? That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens when it's written by someone who was a World War I veteran. World War I is the best argument against anything industrial.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's also the best argument for industrialism, because if you don't industrialize, other people are going to, and they have bigger guns.
And they.
Yep.
Industrialism is awful and inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, now we have iPhones.
Thank God.
What would we do without them?
I don't know.
Maybe something productive. But yeah, Lord of the Rings is fantastic. I'm not going to read the appendices. Like
they're just a bunch of lore.
It is a bunch of lore. Like there are still like scenes written, like they're Tolkien scenes, but there are still scenes written in the appendices. Like it'll say like it'll talk about like the dwarves discussing Moria, and it'll have a little bit of dialogue between some of the dwarves. Like, no, we're not. No, I forbid you from going into Moria. That place is bad. And that's just in the. It's just a ton of lore. It is. It's like a third of the Return of the King book.
Dang.
Yeah, that was so good. I'm glad I read it. I'm definitely gonna read it again at some point in my life, because that was phenomenal. And that's one where I was already gonna read, even when I have kids, I was already gonna read The Hobbit to them. At some point, I'm probably gonna try to read Lord of the Rings to them as well. That's so good. And I think Tolkien's language works better when you read it out loud. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy those audiobooks someday.
Mayhaps.
Those audiobooks read by Andy Serkis, the guy who voiced Gollum in the movies.
Oh.
Played
Cool.
Gollum. That's all for what I read. As for what I watched, I don't think I've seen any movies, but I did get a subscription to BritBox.
Okay.
So
For
I
British
Doctor
food.
Who?
Box.
so I watched like two things on there. So I watched some
Was it
episodes
for Doctor Who?
of this comedy called In the Thick of It, which I like
Okay.
looked up like what on BritBox should I watch, and this was on a list of things. It is the thing that Peter Capaldi was known for before he became the Doctor in Doctor Who.
Okay.
It is a political comedy made by Armando Iannucci, the guy who would go on to make Veep and The Death of Stalin.
Hmm.
And it is
Okay.
all about this bureaucratic institution in British government, this bureaucratic agency that is just horrifically poorly run by these bumbling idiots. And there's one person who's very, very good at his job, and he's the most angry, pissed off person that you'll ever meet. Played by Peter Capaldi. And when people found out that he was going to play the Doctor, they look at this and they go, "Really? You're gonna put this guy on a show where he can't say the F word?" It's hilarious. It's a ton of fun. It is very, very British comedy. Like, it reminds me a lot of the one episode of The British Office that I saw. Except it's not as cringe comedy as that.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm gonna keep watching that. The first season is like 3 episodes. As British TV. And then, of course, the main reason I got BritBox is because I wanted to watch some classic Doctor Who.
Yeah. There you go.
So I watched the first episode ever of Doctor Who.
Nice.
That first episode holds up.
Really?
Yes. It is actually really interesting and really fun. It's a nice mystery with a lot of good atmosphere. These two teachers at a school are discussing a student that they both have, and it's this girl who keeps like saying really weird things in class about like history and stuff, and saying things like, well, that hasn't happened yet, and things like that. And this is like 1960s, so World War II is pretty recent, but she's talking about stuff that happens after the 1960s. And so they follow her home because they find her address, and it's like an empty lot. So they follow her there, and then they find a police box there and an old man who's acting really, really suspicious. And it's done really well. It's really, really interesting. And then the story continues for another 3 episodes where they get in the TARDIS, and then they get sent back to the Paleolithic era, like the Neanderthals and stuff. And the other 3 episodes are boring as crap. I didn't even finish the second one.
Nice.
I went to a list of, hey, let me find a watch list for classic Doctor Who, because I don't know that I want to watch all of this. And I'd heard beforehand, yeah, the first episode's great. The rest of the episodes in that story are kind of. But I went through the watch list and skipped to the next story, which was the first time that the Daleks ever showed up.
Interesting.
And it was a bit long in the tooth because it was like 7 episodes. They're half-hour episodes instead of 45-minute episodes. But it still got a little long in the tooth towards the end when they're like going through some caves trying to sneak into the Dalek city from the back end. But it was really really fun. It's got classic Who, especially in this era, has a charm to it that is hard to describe because it's very old, but the writing is really good and the acting is really good for the most part. Like, it's of the time, but it's a lot of fun. And William Hartnell, the guy who plays the Doctor, who is actually billed as Doctor Who. The character's name is Doctor Who in the credits, even though everyone just calls him Doctor.
Yeah.
He is fantastic. He is the perfect Edwardian gentleman. So he's very, very smart, very wise, and a little bit smug, little bit up his own butt at times. Unfortunately, he was suffering an illness later on in suffering from an illness that got worse in the second season. So he flubs some lines at times, and like there's production issues that happen because of just how they filmed it, which was just week, film a new episode, film a new episode, film a new episode, film a new episode. It was just constantly on going. And so the way they filmed it was basically just all in one. They would rehearse it for a week, and then when they filmed it, they did it all in one go, and almost live edited the episode by switching between the cameras. So you can tell, like, oh, this scene here is so that in this other scene they have time to move over to this. The actors have time to move over to this other set. That's what's going on. And so William Hartnell, it gets a little obvious at times that he's suffering from I forget the illness that he had, but he was suffering from it, and he flubs his lines and gets really tired at times, but he's still giving it his all the entire time. And eventually, I haven't gotten there, but eventually he had to step down from the role, and instead of getting a look-alike, they got someone who looked completely different in what is maybe the riskiest and in hindsight most genius move in television history, by just changing the actor and slightly changing the character too. And then you get Doctor Who, the legacy.
There you go.
So far, my favorite story has been the Aztecs, which is where they go back to the Aztecs, and instead of it being so, usually in Doctor Who, when they go back in time, there's some weird alien there that they gotta. Then there's a problem there with the alien that they gotta fix. With the first Doctor, I think only they have what are called true historicals, which are true historical stories where the whole conflict is they go back in time and there's a conflict to deal with that time. And so with the Aztecs, one of the companions, Barbara, is like, the Aztecs were these genius people. If only they had been able to move past human sacrifice earlier, before the Spanish came, it would have helped enlighten them as a society, and they would have advanced more. And so she gets mistaken for a god because she comes out of the tomb of one of their gods, and she's not. And no, it's a tomb that no one is supposed to be able to get into. The way it's designed, no one can get in there. So all the Doctor and everyone, they're trapped outside of the tomb with the TARDIS inside the tomb, and Barbara's been mistaken for a goddess. So they're trying to use her position to find a way back into the tomb, and the entire time she's also trying to manipulate the Aztec society into, hey, maybe stop human sacrifice. Maybe let's not do that anymore. And the Doctor's like, no, don't mess with that. You don't want to mess with history. That bad things happen. It's really interesting. It's a lot of fun. That one's been my favorite so far. BritBox is missing some episodes because unfortunately those episodes don't exist a lot of times.
Yeah, apparently, like, some episodes just got destroyed or something.
Yeah, the BBC, in their infinite wisdom, decided a lot of times to just get rid of the masters for episodes, because they didn't, after they ran them once or twice, because they're like, we're never going to use these again. Get rid of them. And so some episodes, they've been lost for years, and then there's one specific one where they found it in some archive in South Africa.
Whoa.
and it was like, oh my gosh, we thought this was gone, and they found it. I think it was like a second Doctor episode that was like, why, like everyone was like, oh my gosh, this episode's amazing, and they found it in this random archive in South Africa or somewhere. And there's a few episodes like that. Every episode though, they do have the audio because fans way back in the 60s loved the show so much that they recorded the episodes on whatever technology they had at the time. So they're able to take those and remaster them, and they do have stills of every episode because the directors would keep those stills as like an archive of their work and also to put on resumes if they ever needed to. So you can find reconstructed episodes online where it's the stills and the audio of the episode playing. And they also have I think the BBC actually has like official the official recordings where they have the recording and then they have a narrator narrate the action at times. But none of those are on BritBox. The only one where there is a reconstructed episode on there is the second Doctor's first story, and they don't have the stills, they animated it. They have a I think they used Flash, I'm not sure. But that's because you kind of have to have the first story of the Doctor of the new Doctor. You can't go without that one. And especially because like Patrick Troughton, the guy who plays the second Doctor, is a lot of people's favorite, and like I think there's 4 different people who played the Doctor who say he's their favorite. I know Matt Smith is definitely one of them, and you can see it if you compare their performances, the way they characterize the Doctor. But yeah, I'm in season 2, so I'm still with William Hartnell, and I'm having a great time. It's something where I can just like, I have my lunch break, I'll just put on an episode of Doctor Who while I eat. It's a lot of fun. I think that is it for me.
Nice.
Oh, I did get some more of the Year of Sanderson, the secret project boxes.
Oh,
nice.
So the book for this quarter of the year is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. It's the one non-Cosmere book of these, and I've been listening to it, and boy, it is just as wacky and wild as that title would imply. It's a ton of fun. The Mistborn box just came in, and it's got some really neat stuff in there. It's got stickers with characters from Era 1, like new art for them and everything. It came with the character pin for this month was wax. It's got a Suni Pup little toy, like a little stuffed toy, where it can flip inside out to be like one side is like a little wolfhound and the other side is a chondra, so you can see the bones and everything. It's adorable, absolutely adorable, and I can just imagine if I thought I was messing around with it, and I thought, if I show this to a baby, I'm gonna blow their mind. They're not gonna understand what's happening. So I imagine that'll be fun at some point, but I don't have children, so. And then the last thing were Mistborn Era 1 bookends, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's got two little pieces on each side. So one side has like a background of buildings, Era 1 buildings, and then the front side has like a closer building with a character leaning off. So one is a Steel Inquisitor holding an axe and like hanging onto a spire, and then the other one is Vin leaning out with her mist cloak trailing behind her. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and it's got the mist in there too.
It's awesome.
It looks great. And that's it for me. Even if it's not, I'm going to say it is.
Yep.
Nice. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning into the Redfall Fancast.
Mm-hmm.
We expect to have more information next week. When they're going to add all of that content they've been building up. I've heard it's almost supposed to be another full game, so I think we're going to have lots to talk about next week. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, I think Redfall might be the one game that I buy on once they release the update. Yep.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the one, guys.
Is Redfall
what could possibly go
$70?
wrong?
It's probably $70.
Okay, because I noticed a trend with these $70 games, and it was pointed out when I was listening to Castle Super Beast. The first party ones, they're fine, but the third party $70 games are generally either they release in a jacked up state or they're just bad.
Yeah.
Like Forspoken
or like
is
Redfall,
bad.
where it's both.
Forspoken's
terrible.
Forspoken is bad. Jedi Survivor released in a horrible, unplayable state on PC. But then, like, God of War Ragnarok and Demon Souls, they're fine.
Yep.
I think Hogwarts Legacy is the only exception. And that's because that game has been in development so long that it better be good.
Like it better be. That thing got leaked ages ago.
Anyway, thanks for coming to the Redfall spoiler cast.
Yep.
We're gonna have more spoilers next time.
Spoilers, it's not great.
What?
I don't believe you. I think it's probably game of the year, game of the decade, century, even.
Game of the millennia.
It is the game of all time.
This game will
definitely
beat chess.
One of the games of all time.
Redfall is better than chess.
You heard it here, folks.
I mean, okay. Which game actually gets updates? Chess or Redfall? That's what I thought.
Hey man, there was Chess 2 one time.
It's over.
5D chess.
Yes, with multiverse dimension and time travel.
Chess?
Yep.
So I would say chess got a pretty big update at one time.
You know what? Fair.
I'll be honest. I have that update, and I don't know that I can even comprehend it.
I don't think pretty much anyone can.